For part 1, I will ask you a few more questions to get to know you better and some questions on a general topic. How did you come to this exam?
Well, I came here by public transit. To be more specific, I took the Guangzhou Metro Line number 3.
Do you have any hobbies?
I'm actually a photoholic. I enjoy taking photos of the nature, such as the animals, the plants, the landscape, and the like. My camera is like my companion as it documents my life.
Let's talk about walking. How often do you go for a walk?
I go for a walk with my family on a daily basis because we believe the healthy habit of walking can really work like a charm to keep us fit.
Where do you usually walk?
Well, there's one decent park which is located next to our house that I would like to visit whenever I want to blow off some steam or I was stressed out from studies because the natural scenery can really put me at ease.
Do you like to walk at a fast or at a slow pace?
Well, it really depends. I mean, if I have an urgent meeting or appointment or an important examination, then I will walk pretty fast to get to the destination. But if we are talking about going for a walk with family and friends, then I will just stroll around quite slowly so that I can enjoy the conversation and the scenery.
What do you like to wear on your feet when you go for a walk?
Mostly I wear my Fila sneakers as they are stylish and comfortable. But in the summertime, I would switch to my sandals because, they allow my feet to breathe and not get sweaty.
Have your walking habits changed in the past 10 years, and if yes, how?
I suppose my way of walking has changed quite a bit. I've become more self-conscious of my walking style. I make sure that I roll the ball of my feet and keep my back straight with my shoulders pulled back so that I can walk more consistently and more elegantly.
That is the end of part 1. Now we will continue with part 2. Here's a card with some questions on that. Please don't turn it over yet. Here is some note paper and a pencil. You will have 1 minute to look at the card, read the questions, think about your answers, and then you will have 2 minutes to speak. I will tell you when to start and when to stop. Your 1 minute preparation time begins now. Go ahead and turn over the card.
When I was in my sophomore year, I had this project called Education Revitalization in Rural Revitalization, in which I needed to study some education-related issues in a certain rural area for my research paper. I decided to visit a town in my hometown because I knew it was the perfect place since it's a poverty-stricken town, meaning I could dig into some severe problems that the locals were experiencing. So this village was situated a few meters away from a landfill. And when I got there, I was appalled by the situation of the area, not because it's a slum, but because of the smell of the place caused by the landfill. There were excavated areas with lots of garbage that weren't filled with earth yet, and I guess that was the reason why the place smelled so fusty and overpowering. At that time, I was at a loss for words, seeing the situation of the people living in that area. I knew how unsanitary the place was for the residents and how it affected their overall health, and I learned that some of them had some respiratory illnesses because of the condition of their place. Anyway, after I conducted some interviews to some locals in that place, I realized how unfair life was and how privileged I was for living a life that is a complete opposite to the residents there. And since then, I reminded myself that I had no right to complain about some petty stuff, since there were more people who wanted a life like mine that is healthy and free from pollution.
Your 2 minutes is up. I will stop you there. And now I'm going to take back the note paper and the card with the questions and the pencil, and we will continue with part 3. For part 3, I will ask you some more questions related to the topic of part 2. Let's talk about recycling and waste. How has waste management changed over the past century?
I guess there is a striking contrast. I mean, in the past, people dealt with waste in an unsustainable and unsystematic way. For instance, they may just throw the garbage away and burn it. But nowadays, we have systemized waste management by establishing recycling centers that help us reuse the materials such as glass, metals, and...
Which behaviors should be encouraged in current and future generations to reduce waste and safeguard the environment?
Well, that's a good question. I believe there are multiple things people could do to deal with waste. For instance, they could identify and segregate the biodegradable and non-biodegradable waste. And also, they ought to avoid using disposable products so as to avoid creating trash. Anyway, I believe people could still reverse the damage already done to the planet. It's never too late.
Let's talk about nature's wisdom. If people continue to abuse the environment, what will be the consequences?
Oh, well, just to list a few, it will lead to loss of biodiversity as whole living species disappear due to deforestation or pollution. And the rising temperature may be too much for all living things on the planet. And to be honest, there are already many warning signs that people can observe today.
That is the end of part 3, and that concludes the speaking portion of the IELTS exam. You will have your mark in about 10 days' time with the other sections. Have a great rest of your day.